Hi guys, welcome back to my small engine repair channel. Today I'll be answering questions that I receive here in the shop from my customers and also some of the questions that I receive online from my viewers. And before I get started today, I want to welcome all my viewers today and all my new subscribers, and thanks for watching. So I'll get right into the Q&A. The first question I'm going to answer today is about lawn tractor batteries. A lot of people that come through my shop and also online ask me, why does the battery in my lawn tractor not last as long as it does in my car or my pickup truck? Well, the answer to that is because the lawn tractor batteries are much lower quality than the ones in your car or pickup. Also, they're only used seasonally, so they're not being used all the time. The more you use a battery, in my experience, the longer it lasts. So in your car, for example, you're using your car pretty well every day. The battery gets some kind of charge, it keeps it alive, and it's always fresh and ready to go. Whereas in a lawn tractor, it sits for quite a while, sometimes in between uses. Also, if you live where I do, we get long winters, so your battery may sit for 9 months maybe, and it may be sitting in the cold weather. It's not getting a charge if you didn't put a trickle charger on it. In my experience, if you get 2 to 3 years with your lawn tractor battery, you're doing good. One way to know how old your battery is if you see a sticker like this. The E here would stand for the 5th month of the year 2015. So this battery here just came out of a lawn tractor. Obviously it was dead, it would not recharge at all. So when I see a battery in a lawn tractor that won't work and I see the sticker that is past 2 to 3 years, I know immediately that I'm going to have to replace it. However, I do run a quick test on the battery to see how the cold cranking amps are doing. That's the proper way to test the battery, is by measuring the cold cranking amps. If you just test the volts, it might read good even though the battery's not good. Now, my second question of the video is, do you ever rebuild pressure washer pumps? Well, my simple answer to that is no, I don't rebuild any pressure washer pumps that come through my shop. I've learned my lesson. I've lost my shirt over it many times, and now I just basically put a new pump or I don't do the repair. Now, if you're doing it for yourself, you can take a chance, because if it doesn't work, there's nobody else to blame but yourself. Nobody's going to come back to your shop or your house and complain about their pump not working. However, if you run a professional shop, you don't want anything that you fix to come back, because if it comes back, you have to waste more time, put in more parts, which people will often expect to get them for free. And at that point, you're not making any money, you're wasting your time. It's actually costing you money to repair junk. So what I've learned over the years is I'm better to just replace the pump. It's less time wasted, less aggravation for the customer and myself, and the machine is repaired in a better way because the customer leaves with a brand new pump. Even if you rebuild the pump by putting a kit in, if you can get one, at the end of the day, it's still an old pump, even though there are some new parts in it. And another quick tip on pressure washer pumps is oftentimes you're better off to just buy a new machine instead of replacing the pump if you're going to pay somebody to do it. We get gouged here on parts in Canada compared to our US neighbors. So a lot of this equipment is not worth fixing. So to give you an example, if somebody was to replace the pressure washer pump on this machine, they probably would be over $300 with tax and labor when they left the shop. You can often buy these pressure washers here with the upright engine for around $500 on sale. So often it's a no-brainer. You can just tell the customer they're better off to buy a whole new machine. Although sometimes I do get the odd customer that does not like to throw stuff away, so they do opt for the new pump. And if you do put a new pump in for your customers, just advise them to properly store it in the wintertime, because that's another issue that often comes up. People put away their pressure washers away with a brand new pump, and in the spring it doesn't work anymore because they did not put the proper antifreeze in the pressure washer pump. So I do have a video that shows how to properly put away your pressure washer away for the winter. The link is in the info button at the top here right now. You can click on it and watch it later. That video shows you the best way to put away your pressure washer for the winter. Now, in my next question here, people have asked me online, is it a good idea to use Q-tips to clean my carburetor? Well, the answer to that is it's not always a good idea. It does work, but if you do use a Q-tip to clean certain parts of your carburetor, there's certain things you need to be aware of. So the exact question I got from viewers is it okay to use the Q-tip to clean where the needle valve goes into my carburetor? So as I mentioned earlier, you can use a Q-tip, but just be aware of certain issues, and I'll show you that right now. First of all, it's not a professional way of doing it, but it is doable. The main problem comes from the Q-tip where it can come apart like this with the gas, if there's any gas or carb cleaner left on the Q-tip or your carb. So it's going to come apart like this. You want to make sure there's no residue of this stuff left inside here. And even if it's a small trace amount, like it could be very, very tiny, even this much can be a problem, or this much over here on this finger there. So here's where the problem happens with that stuff. It can get stuck between the needle valve and the seat like this. And again, it doesn't even have to be this much. It can just be a trace amount like that. And what that's going to do is cause your carburetor to leak fuel because it's not doing a proper seal. So as the float brings the needle valve up, part of the Q-tip is obstructing a proper seal. The gas keeps flowing in your carburetor because of that, and you've got gas all over the place. And also your engine will be flooded all the time. So one way to cure that if you do use a Q-tip is grab your air compressor, have some low air pressure. You don't want a lot of pressure if you're going to do what I'm going to show you here. You want to put your air nozzle where the intake of fuel is because it goes directly to where the seat would be in your carburetor where you've used the Q-tip. You just give it a little burst of air, just like that. So if you did have a bit of Q-tip residue left in there that you can't even see because it's wet with gas, the air blowing through here will blow the residue away from there, and then your seat's going to be nice and clean and the needle valve will be doing a proper seal. So to whoever asked this question about the Q-tips, you should do this if you're going to be using Q-tips to clean your carburetor. Now what I usually do if the walls of the needle valve are dirty is I use a piece of 600 emery paper. It's very smooth. I just cut a small piece like this, I roll it, just like that. Now you can make it bigger depending on your hole here, and then you can just move it around and clean it in there. Put a bit of carb cleaner when you do this, and it's going to clean it up really well in there, and then just spray it out with carb cleaner or do the air thing that I showed you earlier. I find this method works a lot better for me. Now, a few weeks ago, a guy asked me online, how do I get the decompressor off my steel chainsaw? Well, it's quite simple. All you need is a 13mm deep socket. Stick it over the decompressor, and all you have to do now is undo it with your ratchet. And it's basically the same size socket for most chainsaws out there, including Husqvarna and other brands. Now, it may be easier to access the decompressor if you remove the covers on your chainsaw. Now, my last question for today is it a good idea to be using aftermarket air filters in my equipment? My answer to that is yes. Personally, I use a lot of aftermarket air filters in my shop because they cost a fraction of the price of original air filters from the manufacturer. So to give you an example, this air filter over here is a copy of this Briggs & Stratton lawnmower air filter. This filter here in Canada can cost between $10 to $20 if you buy the original air filter, whereas you can buy this aftermarket one online for like $5. And some other air filters that I use here are the Honda ones and the Briggs ones as well that are rectangular like this. These are Sten's air filters. Sten's has good quality products. I find that the Sten's products are better than the air filters you would get on Amazon or eBay that are not branded. But again, even if you buy the Sten's, which is a branded filter, it's still a lot cheaper than buying the original air filter from the manufacturer. So a question I got from a customer a few months ago: if I bought a new lawnmower last year and I took it out this year and it's been chewed by mice or rodents, is that under warranty? Well, the answer is obviously no. And I'm not trying to make fun of anybody here, but it is a legitimate question that I got from a customer. There's no way any manufacturer will warranty this because it has nothing to do with them. This is all due to the way the machine was stored. If you don't want the rodents to eat your stuff, you have to put mothballs or some kind of repellent to keep them away, stored in a good place where they can't get in. So plain and simple, damage like this is not covered under warranty. Also, thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed and that you're following me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and have a great day.